Merhaba Deniz Hanım. Okay, the time is exactly 7, according to my watch. And the recording started, so the session will be recorded. And I'm glad to see you all here. And I want to thank Francesco Fedele to agree to do this session for us as a TLIx for District 109. And also I want to thank Serkan to take the role of TLIx chair for this year, summer TLIx and the winter TLIx of District 109. I would like to pass the word to Serkan to introduce Francesco Fedele.
Thank you so much, Deniz. Thanks to you. I will try to do my best for TLIx series. I really like to be here with you and manage this series. I would like to invite Francesco Fedele. Mr. Fedele joined Toastmasters International in 2011 and progressed through club, district, regional leadership. A two-time distinguished Toastmasters. He chartered 4 clubs and founded Advanced Club. Served as a first district director of District 109, our district. Region 10 advisor, and he is currently international director for Region 10. Professionally, he manages EU-funded projects and lives in Rome, Italy. Welcome, Mr. Fedele.
Thank you very much. So let me share my screen and let's get started. Of all the things that were nicely said about me, the most important one is that I am someone who loves to explore technology. And in particular, technology nowadays means artificial intelligence. And why not combine the two things, the two passions that I have, artificial intelligence and Toastmasters? And this is what I will deal with in the next 55 minutes, more or less, how we can use artificial intelligence as our co-pilot to perform better as club officers, but without losing that human touch that makes Toastmaster so special. I often look at my screen and it's become blank. Are you actually seeing my slide, Denise, or? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why my camera shows a different thing, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. What is important is that Toastmaster still has to be Toastmaster, even if you add AI into the picture. What can we...
Right now, I am not seeing your face in your screen. We are seeing your slides.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing your face.
But now you see a slide that says the officer
Yes.
Workload problem. Okay, good.
Yes, but we don't see you.
And we can make me appear.
Yes.
Okay. So, and let me correct one thing so that I also see myself as I should be seeing and I don't get worried. Okay. So why are we talking about using AI for club officers? Because you might have noticed that taking on a club officer role is a lot of work. You need to do things. You need to follow up with the members. You need to send reminders. You need to ask them to take roles. You have to follow up with guests, especially if you're a BPPR or a BPM. And from time to time, you also have to press people to renew. You need to plan the meetings and set up good meeting agendas, you have to look at data, especially maybe if you're the president and you're taking an overall look at how things are going. And finally, if you're maybe the secretary, you have to do a lot of work on the part relating to minutes, keeping track of what is going on in the club. And we are all volunteers. Our time is limited. AI is a great tool in this direction. It can help us recover some of the time that we would otherwise have to use in doing these tasks. And that means freeing up time to work with members, to create a relationship with them, to listen to the members. That is the most important part of our role. All the other things are, of course, important, and we can enlist the help of Toastmasters manuals, Toastmaster materials, and AI to carry out them in the best. But that part, the part where we actually talk with people, is still very, very important. Back to our slides to go on to what AI can do, and especially what I would not suggest to use AI for. AI can help you with drafting routine communications and templates, in summarizing long documents, and looking at your meeting notes, analyzing data once you have anonymized it, and I'll come back to this point, organizing task lists. You have probably already worked on your club success plan. If it looks like the one I have in my club, it has a number of projects that we want to do. But now we also have tasks under those projects, and keeping track of all that is quite a bit of work. AI can help me in that. It can even help me in generating scenarios that will help me take decisions. And it can create checklists which are useful for maybe the sergeant at arms to make sure that the room is set up perfectly, or when it comes time to hand over your role to someone else, make sure you are passing all the things that need to be passed on. But let's also look at what AI should not replace. Your judgment, especially if it is to approve something, to say, yes, this is an expense that is worth doing, this is a decision that needs to be taken. It cannot substitute authentic personal relationship. You've heard me say it, I will continue to say it because it's so important. It cannot take your place when it's time to authorize a certain expense or to make sure that you're compliant with certain decisions that need to be taken. It cannot substitute you when, unluckily, sometimes we have to take disciplinary issues into consideration and have those difficult conversations with the members. Yes, it can help me prepare for those conversations, but when it comes time to have that conversation, I need to be 100% in, not let AI take over. And finally, mentorship, encouragement, and human empathy. That's something that AI still cannot substitute. So AI is your co-pilot, not an autopilot. You cannot just push that button and let it fly the club on its own. You remain fully accountable for every output that comes from your leadership. 4 practical functions that you put AI into. First of all, it can draft things. It can take your email and put it in a nicer way. Sometimes I write emails just like that out of my passion. And it's good to have someone else, maybe AI, revise it and maybe soften my email a little bit. I do tend to be a bit too much passionate about things, and having that check is useful. It can help me summarizing documents. In my role as international director, I often have to read hundreds of pages of materials to prepare for a meeting. And even if you're not having hundreds of pages, looking back at the minutes of previous meetings might take a bit of time. AI can give you that summary or look up something from the past minutes in a few seconds. It's great for analyzing data, and I'll show you some examples later. And it can help a lot in organizing or even automating some workflows, especially those that are repeatable. And I actually have a project that I would like to share with some of you. If anyone is interested, that could be my next DTM project. I'm working on my 3rd and 4th. And I would like to enlist a group of people who can help in automating one of the most important things we do in Toastmasters, which is getting people to join us from the moment they write to us, following up, giving them information, inviting them to a club meeting, and then following up on those invitations, telling them how was the meeting, following up and offering them to become a member. All this requires a bit of work, and I think AI could automate part of it, and I'd like to develop a solution that many clubs could use. So if you're interested, drop me an email and we can take it from there. Every function that we pointed out until now requires you to review. Nothing should be sent or submitted before you have had time to check what AI comes up with. It does normally come up with good things, but from time to time it may go in the wrong direction. So do remember that. Responsible use. 6, I don't know why 7, but 6 principles that every officer must follow. First, as I said, human approval. Every AI output should be reviewed. And the 7 is AI's fault. It's not my fault. I asked him to produce the slides and I didn't check. So, lesson learned, always double check. Minimum necessary data. When you're giving data to AI, only give the data that is really needed. Never share the full membership records, especially if those records contain name, emails, or phone numbers. Do anonymize before analyzing data. Take out those names and replace them with something. I usually replace them with numbers and I make Francesco Fedele become member number 7. Verify every output. AI hallucinates, sometimes it makes up things completely. Always cross-check what comes out of it. Be transparent about the use of AI. I think it's a good practice to always state when AI was used. Do not hide it from the members or anyone involved. There's nothing wrong in using AI. It's like using a word processor or a calculator, but it's good that you are warning people about it. And finally, remember some security and retention limits. Use tools that you are aware are doing a good job. Be careful of using tools that might not go in the right direction, and always be mindful of GDPR. So don't keep data unless it's needed for your work. Delete any working files after you have completed the task. And let's jump directly into what can be done by, for example, a president. A recurring workload that a president has to face is to monitor the club success plan, check that things are progressing like you expect to. Prepare the agenda for the executive committee meetings and try to do that in advance, not at the last moment or when the meeting is starting. Align officers for the future and make sure that you have someone ready to take over a role when it comes the right moment. Do a SWOT analysis. I'm sure all of you have done it. The way we did it in my own club is I asked every officer to come up with their own SWOT analysis of our club. And then to put those 7 different SWOT analyses together, I enlisted the help of AI, who gave me an overall SWOT analysis, putting all those inputs together. A very simple process, which of course we checked, but we got a SWOT analysis of our entire club, which includes 7 different point of views. It's also useful to prepare those difficult conversations. Sometimes you have to talk with members and you need to tell them things which are not too easy to tell. Those members who are creating issues, those members who are maybe not following all the good practices of our club. You can practice those conversations using AI and get ready for them. Something I do when I drive, I often use the vocal interface of ChatGPT to have a conversation. And it helps me in practicing things like those critical conversations. And when the end of the term comes, it's an easy way to collect information, get summaries, and pass it on to the next team. So AI can be easily used to check progress on your club success plan or to prepare updates of it. Officer meeting agenda are easily created from your initial notes given to AI to clean up and put into a nice agenda. It's also interesting to develop a risk register for your club. This comes from my experience in managing EU-funded projects. One of the things that we are always looking at is what risks can we meet? What can go wrong in the project? And in the same way, it's a good idea to always have a list of what can go wrong in your club and add data to back up that information and see if one of those risks is actually materializing and have a plan to go in the case that risk comes up. And also, having succession candidate profile summaries can help in deciding who to go and push in certain directions for next year's XCOM. I actually suggest you can use this even when you do a first check-in with a new member. Get some information about them. Of course, anonymize it, but have AI help you in drafting a profile of the person and then matching that profile with how the person can better use Toastmaster. More on that when we talk about the VPM and VPE. Here in the slide, you see a few ready-to-use prompts. I have sent a link to a WhatsApp group, and Denise, maybe you can re-put it in the chat towards the end of this workshop. I actually invite you to join that group so that people can share their own experience. And my starting point to those who will join the group is a document where there are something like 200 different prompts divided by different roles that you can test. I'd like us to share our experience because this is a relatively new field and it's changing day after day. And the best way to grow in Toastmaster is to share our experience and give feedback to each other. And that group is there for this. So join that group and you'll have a lot more prompts than the ones you see here. Let's go on to a guy who does most of the work in a club, the VPE. The VPE really has a difficult life. EasySpeak is a tool that makes the life of the VPE a little bit better, especially if you actually convince your club members that they are supposed to use it. You're not the only one using it. It's good to use AI in your role as VP to make an annual education calendar and role scheduling. It helps you in checking out that people are taking all roles and you don't always have one or two people being Toastmaster of the day or general evaluator or table topics, and they're always the same ones rotating. You can even make suggestions to people in growing in Toastmaster roles and taking those roles which you know are more connected to what they're looking for in Toastmaster. Tracking their progress in pathways or even sometimes suggesting that they take a specific project is something that AI can help you a lot with. Mentor matching and mentorship coordination is another area. Planning educational workshops, follow-up members, especially when they somehow go into trouble and are not performing as well as you'd like them to be. And also, a final thing, checking that you're progressing well in your DCP count, which is just a way to measure that the club is going in the right direction. It's not the reason why we do it for the points. The reason is checking that the club is performing well. So with AI, you can easily do a 12 months allocation schedule. You can have progress summaries. You can have mentor matching criteria. So maybe once you do your initial chat with a new member, you can run the responses through that mentor matching mechanism and see who could be the best person to match that new member with, and see if that brings the members to action as fast as you'd like them to be. You can refine the workshop agenda and even develop participant guides with AI. And I think we could actually share those between us and have something that each of us can adapt to our club. One thing that I would be careful about, in the slides it says, do not use AI for live speech evaluation or feedback during the meetings. I have actually tried that, and I think we should experiment with things. It may work out well, it may not, depending on the club and depending on how you feel about it. But it's there, it's a tool. Why not testing and see if in your club, with your people, it works out well. I can share a tool that I developed to do table topics, and I know that someone here in the audience wouldn't like that too much, and I see you smiling, Lisa. But it's a possibility. I invite you to check it out and try it out like many other things. VPM, I think this is a role that can really benefit a lot from AI. First of all, for the thing I was saying before, following up with guests. And rather than having that standard email which we send to all guests that have come to a meeting, with AI, I could personalize that email based on what I know about the guest, what he is most interested in, and what happened at the meeting. I can put out a communication that comes closer to the interests of those guests. And if they feel that I am actually looking after them, they will be much more willing to become members. In the same way, I can follow up with my existing members, see if they are using Toastmaster to the best, or if they would actually need a bit of support into that. I can look at risk in terms of renewals, and I can do it not when the renewals come up, but during the year. And I can see this person has not been attending meetings, this person has not been taking roles. Please check with them. It's check with them. It's not AI is going to check with them. AI can warn you, you call them. And if you actually phone them, that's even better. I know sometimes it's hard to do that, but phones actually existed for this in the very beginning. Planning a membership campaign and organizing an open house is very often a big task. And that's another area where you can enlist the use of AI. You can also design onboarding sequences. One of the things that I find my own club struggles with is making sure that we take a new member and we bring them in as fast as possible. And you do not realize it once you're in, but there are a number of things that we give for granted. We suppose that EasySpeak is very easy to use, which is not always true. Helping them, taking them by hand is important. So I have come up with this idea that I'm testing in our club. We are giving new members a 90 days mentor that takes them in their first steps in the participation in our club. And AI is helping us, reminding us of the next step, or seeing and checking if that member is actually accessing, is a speak, if he is actually recording, requesting speeches, and so on. Something which you might not think is useful, but I would suggest you actually start doing, is an exit survey. Members decide to quit, and this is fact of life. But if we can understand why they're leaving our club, we can make sure that we can work on retention. And retention is today one of our biggest problems. Overall, in Toastmasters, we lose half of our members every year. Can you imagine if we were only able to keep maybe half of that? We would be growing so fast that it would become maybe a problem. But let's face that problem. Let's understand why people leave so that we can better react to that and take care of that relationship, which sometimes is really what is important. VPPR. This is an area where AI is used and very often overused. You can do a lot with AI for PR. You can develop a monthly content calendar across all the channels that you're managing. You can have AI actually write the posts. You can set up promotion campaigns. You can edit, design and update your website, make a press release, and so on. There is so much that can be done that it's really hard to even give an overview of all this. A few warnings. One that has been circulating a lot. Be careful about the Toastmaster logo, because AI tends to use it in ways that are not 100% compliant with our brand. So most of the times it's better to ask AI not to put that logo and add it later. But also, when you're asking AI to do something, provide AI with the brand guidelines so that it will actually follow those guidelines and make your output more in line with those guidelines. I will show you later something that you can very easily do. Take your agenda and produce a post which you can put on after the meeting, saying what actually happened during the meeting. Because this can be an interesting thing that can attract guests in future meetings. Newsletter production, checking that your material is brand compliant, and checking up on your processes to get guests on board is a few of the other things that you can do with AI. Secretary. The poor secretary is the guy who has to keep track of things. And I love the function of Zoom that makes meeting minutes for me. Sometimes it's not 100% perfect, but it does usually a very good work. So if your meetings are online, it's very easy to turn on that function and get a first version of the minutes, or use it as a starting point. And if your meetings are in person, you can always record them and then get AI to transcribe the meeting and provide you with the actual text, and then summarize it and turn it into meeting minutes and an action list that goes with it. It's really, really very, very useful, especially for lazy people like me, or for people who get so much into the discussion that they forget to take notes about what is actually being discussed. And you need someone like that. You need a secretary who will remind you of the points that need to be dealt with and decisions that have been taken in the past. You can also use AI to develop policy and documents for your club, like how we normally structure a meeting, what is the way in which we perform certain roles in our club. Having that documented and providing it to new members can help them get up to speed. Treasurer. This is an area where I am a bit careful about using AI because I won't want AI to decide for me what needs to be spent and what not. I am always afraid that they will start paying for subscription to ChatGPT or Claude with the club money. But you can help getting other people to understand the budget, preparing a narrative that will explain those numbers to the club members, checking the forecast of your cash flow against what is actually happening in the club, reminding people about dues that need to be paid, and creating instructions on how to reimburse members who make expenses are a number of the possible uses that you can put AI to. Don't have AI approve transactions. Keep that for the club officers, but otherwise AI can help you a lot in creating those reports. And finally, the sergeant at arms. You would say, why should the sergeant at arms actually use AI? But it's great for checklists. I think my father would have loved AI. He traveled a lot and he had a checklist of all the things that needed to go in his suitcase, even up to the point of how many shirts, how many underpants he had to take, depending on how many days he was traveling. And why not having a similar checklist for your club, especially for clubs that change locations? My club meets in 2 different places, and very often we are missing the one thing that is in the other location. So having a checklist and using it can help make sure that our meetings are perfect. Keeping track of the equipment of the club and maybe providing information like how to access the location, how to park, can make the life of guests even better. A contingency plan of what happens if something doesn't work or what instructions you should give if you are the sergeant at arms, but for that meeting you cannot actually attend, is a very good idea. And in general, for the executive committee, AI can be a tool that you use before the meetings to draft agenda, to have an update on your club success plan, to update the risk register. During the meeting, to keep track of the things that are being discussed, the decisions that are taken, and the production of a minute in almost real time is a great bonus. And after the meeting, converting the notes into a formal minute, a decision log, and an action tracker, and follow-up messages can make the life of an executive committee much, much easier. Before we go into some real practical things, a brief summary. So in the XCOM, agenda, minutes, decision log, action list, and follow-up messages are the main things I would say you can use AI for. And in terms of club events, event invitation mail, reminder post, event recap after the meeting, and newsletter, text, and social posts are the things that AI can excel at. They can easily save hours of your work. I'm ready to show you some actual application of AI, but first I want to talk about making your data safe. If you're, for example, exporting data from EasySpeak has a number of charts that are very useful. But before putting them into AI, I would be careful. So you export it first, you de-identify them. So substitute the names of the members with a membership number or some other data. If necessary, even aggregate them so that it's not possible to identify a member and you're looking at aggregate data. And check if what you're about to upload has any risks. Always upload just the minimum required for what you need to do. These steps guarantee that your privacy and the privacy of all your members is always guaranteed, and you will never have problems with that. Member name, change with ABC or a number, or even if that is possible, removes, because otherwise they're a clear way to identify them. Emails should be always removed. Individual attendance record might be better transformed into monthly aggregate percentages. Speech title could also sometimes reveal information about the members. So even that can maybe be removed and substituted with categories into which the speeches fall. Pathways, project details could be replaced with levels completed per path, and guest notes with details are also something that you should be careful about loading, but rather maybe identify categories like I want to upgrade my career, I want to become better at impromptu speaking, and so on. And of course, financial transaction by member should be replaced by dues collected, not detailed by individuals. Okay, time for the demo. Now, this is where things will get complicated, but let's see what happens. So first of all, an example from EasySpeak. Under this club, there is a voice that's called Club Charts, and I'm going to look at roles by member. It shows what I should not be showing you, the names of the members here. But up here it shows the different roles, and it tells when they actually took a certain role. So let's see an Excel that I took out from this, and you see I replaced the names of the member with a number. The last role I kept it as it was, and up here for the different roles, EasySpeak puts a check if they have performed it once, or X2, X3, X4, and so on if they performed that role more than once. And you can ask for an expert that has more or less details. This is really interesting to pass on to an AI, and let me show you what happened when I did that. So my prompt was this: you are the VPM assistant. Looking at the attached data where the names of the members have been substituted with an internal member number, and the columns represent each a specific role. And X in that column for the role of a member indicates that the role of that column has been taken once. X2 or X3 represent the fact that the role has been taken 2 or 3 times. Analyze the cases where the member is not participating and prepare WhatsApp messages to contact them, start a conversation, and ultimately bring them back to participating actively. Also, analyze the cases of members who are doing even too much and report that so we can prevent them from being burnt out. And he came up with this list. Members who may need support. Number 19, 16, 3, and 18 are very high in the priority list because their last role was quite a number of days ago. And is even suggesting what kind of approach should be taken. And then it goes down to high priority for numbers 8, 22, and 20, because they took a role maybe in the last months, but still maybe it was 3 months since they took a role, and instead monitor for people who were at least taking a role but might be either new or disengaging. And then it gives suggested WhatsApp messages. Rather than saying, we notice you aren't participating, start from genuine curiosity. Hi, we haven't had the pleasure of seeing you actively involved in the meetings for a little while. So I just wanted to check in. How are things going? Is everything okay? We'd really like to have you back, and so on and so on. For members who were previously active, it will suggest a slightly different approach. And for members who barely started participating, again, it will give me a different approach. And then it looked at members who are at risk of being burnt out. So, for example, member number 7, Francesco Fedele, took 15 roles in the last 8 or so meetings. Maybe that's a bit too much. But there is another member, our current VPE, who was taking 16 roles, and another one was taking 18 roles. Maybe we need to sort this out and distribute roles a bit more evenly, because they risk to lose motivation and sudden drop participation if life becomes too busy. So it gives some suggestion to the VPM to handle all those people who are taking too much responsibility, and even a message to send out to them. And then interesting, it goes all the way to give you an overall assessment. There is a classic 80-20 participation pattern where 20% of the members are carrying most meeting roles, and a similar proportion seems to be drifting away, and then gives you some immediate action to take. And also suggests to redo this analysis every 6 or 8 weeks because it can build upon previous analysis and help you in keeping the membership under control. Okay, so let's try something different now. I want to take an agenda of a meeting, and I want to ask him, based on this agenda, prepare a post that I can use on social media showing what we did and inviting guests to attend. And I could write, of course, much more. The more context you give AI, the better will be the output. So, can artificial intelligence help us become better public speakers? Because that meeting was about artificial intelligence. That's what we explored at our latest Toastmasters Roma Innovation Lab. During the meeting, we explored practical ways AI can help prepare speeches, learned how to structure an effective presentation, and it goes on and on. What is one of the most interesting conclusions? AI can make us better speakers, but only if we continue to learn, practice, and receive feedback from real people. Would you like to improve your public speaking, build confidence, or discover how AI is changing communication? Come and visit us as a guest, and so on. You get. It's ready to post. You can even ask it to make up a picture and something that will go with that post. Makes your life as a VPPR easier. The even more interesting thing is when you start building this into actions that are automatically repeated. So you can ask ChatGPT to actually go and read the agenda of your last meeting every second Wednesday. We meet on Tuesday, so the second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday of the month are great times to look at the agenda, prepare the post, and send it to me. So I don't have to do anything. I will receive by email a post that is ready. I maybe change something, and I put it on Facebook. You could actually get it on Facebook automatically, but I would be a bit careful about doing that. Let's try something with Claude. So I asked Claude this. You are the assistant of the club president and the club VP. Analyze the attached files that show how the club performed during the last Toastmaster year and make a forecast of this year's performance. I actually downloaded from the Toastmaster dashboard the file once for every month. So I gave him 12 files with the information from Toastmaster. And it gave me this executive summary. Toastmaster closed the year achieving select distinguished status and finished with 21 active members, 5 below the 26 member renewal base. assuming that 2627 starts with 21 members, it could go in the direction of President Distinguished. And then it goes on to giving me a performance review in terms of membership, showing how the membership modified during the year and how it could evolve during this year. It showed me how we did in terms of distinguished club program points, how we progressed and how we should try to progress more evenly during the year. It tells me about the recognition level reached and gives me a forecast for this year. And then gives me recommendation for the different roles. All from that prompt, including some data that I should try to reach. I'll share this with you. Let me show you something else that I did. With the same data, I asked him produce a dashboard presenting the evolution of Toastmaster Roma during the last Toastmaster year, as shown in the attached data, starting from July 2025 and ending with June 2026. And where do I have this? As you can see, I have too many things open. Well, it downloaded a very nice report, which I will send you. I'll actually put it on that WhatsApp group as soon as I find it. I am almost out of time, so I need to go to my conclusions. And my conclusion need to warn you, because when you use AI too much, the co-pilot can become an autopilot. You start trusting AI too much. You're giving up on your own judgment. It's easy to get used to the support it gives you and defer decisions to AI. And you lose your ability to think. You remember what they told us about calculators, or maybe those of you who are older might remember, oh, if you are not using your mind to make calculations, you will lose your ability to do it. Well, calculators help, but we still should be able to make calculations by our own mind, and the same is making decisions with our own mind. Our communication can become too much generic. AI drafted communication starts to look the same. It's starting to be easy to spot AI generated communication, especially when you don't give it a lot of context. Be careful about hallucinations and mistakes that AI can do. Be careful about privacy breaches. It's so easy to give him data that the temptation to give the data without cleaning it is very, very strong. Reduce human contact. That's really easy to lose that part which is so important in Toastmaster. And you start becoming dependent on AI. Maybe the next healthcare issue will be abuse of AI and loss of human touch. Safe to automate in Toastmaster, meeting minutes, drafting reminders, and so on. Automate with a bit of review, membership renewals, communication, educational progress, summaries, and so on. Don't delegate to AI membership acceptance or rejection decision, disciplinary conversations, financial transaction approval, and so on. Review the process that you use in which you put AI. If you're not yet using AI, I have a 30-day implementation plan, which I will give you in the material that I would ask Denise to put. Again, there is an handout that you are going to find in the chat with a policy that you can share with members on how you're using AI, suggestions on how to implement the things that you can immediately try to do in AI. Start with a couple of things, see how things go, and progress from there. And some other suggestions on how to use AI as a club officers. AI is your co-pilot, not your autopilot. It can make you much more productive and it can give you time to be a better club officers, talking more and dedicating more time to your members. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fedele. I think we have some question from audience. We can start.
We can say the session is completed. So if you want to leave, you can leave. For the ones who want to stay and ask questions, we can stay 10 more minutes.
Thank you, Denise. Have a great night, dear friends. See you later then. Yeah, let's start with Mr. Heinen, Benedict.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Francesco. I enjoyed your presentation. There's one point you haven't mentioned, and I wonder what your stance is on it, and that is AI training opt-outs. Do you use them? Because you'd use them routinely just to say whatever I enter, you don't use for training your models. But I mean, it will at least prevent the accidental spillage of data that doesn't go into training of models.
Yeah, I would be careful in whatever you put into AI.
Absolutely.
And on this, I would suggest to always, as a first thing that you do when you set up your account on ChatGPT or Claude, go and check the do not use my input to train the model. And sorry for not mentioning that. It's a very important thing to do. Together with another thing, ask the AI to be a critical friend and not to always agree with you. At the beginning, I had this wonderful experience of ChatGPT always telling me, oh, yes, you're right. I was right, everything I put in, everything I said was perfect. And then I got tired. I don't want someone to tell me I'm right. I want someone to tell me what is good, but also tell me where I'm going wrong. And if you do not tell him, he will tend, or she, or it, will tend to always be in agreement with you. Thanks for reminding about that.
Okay.
Alvaro, do you want to ask your question, which was in the chat, to Francesco?
Oh,
directly.
sorry, I haven't followed the chat during the
No worries. Sure,
presentation.
I can ask away. There was a slide where you were showing a lot of actions we could do to anonymize the data.
Yes.
But it went as far as to anonymize the speech titles, the pathway, and at some point, what's the need to give to AI the data if it's fictive 100%?
I understand that point, and you have to make a choice. Of course, the more data you give it, the better the response can be. But on the other side, the more data you give it, the more there is a risk that data will go in directions you wouldn't have anticipated. So unless you have your own model, which just stays in your organization, which is probably not very common, I would be careful. Speech titles, do you want to share those? I would say if you look at them and they are not giving out too much information about the speaker himself, it's okay, especially if you don't link the speech title to the name of the speaker. If it says, I am my 30 days underground and it's speaker number 13, probably that's okay, not too dangerous. But I prefer to err on the more protective side than on the reverse.
All right, makes sense. For free text, indeed, we never know if the person says, my name is Nana, and then you give it, and that's too late. True.
Yeah, thank you. Riyadh? Riyadh, can you hear us? Riyadh Murad? Okay.
Maybe you can write in the chat.
Yeah, we are done, I think. Okay.
So the first TLIx of this summer term was amazing. Thank you, Francesco.
And before closing, maybe we can take a family photo. If you like to open your camera, dear friends. Oh, thank you. Just waiting a minute. Yeah, we are done, I think. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, got it. Thank you so much,
Thank you, TLIx
Mr.
Chair.
Fedele. Thank you so much this amazing speech. I use AI a lot, but you gave me a different perspective for that. And thank you so much. And also, dear friends, we have 8 more sessions in TLIx in August. The next meeting on Thursday at the same time. And the topic is the feedback 101 for club officers. Please check this out again. And Mr. Fedele, you would like to add something?
He just put his email address on the chat. For the ones who doesn't have it, you can see it in the chat.
Yes, I also copied it.
And I will invite you to join that WhatsApp group where we can continue sharing our own experience and our suggestions. And I can put a couple of things that I wasn't able to show you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
May I share that WhatsApp group link
Yeah,
with the
yes,
area directors so that they can send it to club officers who are not here?
With anyone who is interested, I think it's one of the powers of Toastmaster is the networking and the sharing. So I would be happy that as many people as possible participate.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone. Good evening.
Okay. See you next session.
Bye.
Thank you very much
See you
for
on
your
Thursday.
participation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Recording stop.